Deep in the silence of the wilderness, where the wind whispers through ancient stones, a fire began to burn. Not a fire of destruction, but a fire of invitation. A light that defied the laws of nature, appearing in a place forgotten by the world to a man who thought his story was already written. A shepherd named Moses, once a prince of Egypt, now a man of the shadows. He had spent 40 years in the quiet fields, far from the noise of empires. He thought his greatest chapters were behind him, buried under the weight of decades. He was about to encounter a mystery that would change the world forever. Welcome to Beside Still Waters. Tonight, we look at a moment in history that speaks to the heart of anyone who feels their own calling has been lost to time or silenced by the mundane. It was a bush that burned, and yet it was not consumed. This is the story of a call spoken from the heart of the flame, a reminder that it is never too late for a new beginning. For 40 years, Moses lived the life of a quiet shepherd. The record shows he had found a kind of peace in the desert of Midian, tending the flocks of his father-in-law, Jethro. The high halls of Pharaoh were a distant memory, a previous life. Moses was now a man defined by the rhythm of the wilderness and the needs of his animals. His days were measured by the movement of the sun and the search for water. He was a man settled in his ways, perhaps even content in the safety of his obscurity. In the silence of those long desert nights, he had likely made peace with the idea that he would live and die a simple shepherd, his early dreams of justice forgotten. But one morning, he led his flock to the far side of the wilderness, to Horeb, known as the Mountain of God. Those who were there said the air felt different that day. The mountain stood as a silent witness to history, its peaks reaching toward the heavens. Moses climbed, unaware that the path ahead was holy ground. In the corner of his vision, a strange light flickered, not the harsh, steady glare of the midday sun, but something deeper, something ancient and alive. He stopped. The bush was on fire, yet the leaves did not turn to ash. The branches did not wither. It was a flame that gave light without taking life. Moses decided to turn aside. "I will go over and see this strange sight," he thought. Why the bush does not burn up. Curiosity led him toward the mystery. He stepped closer, the warmth of the fire pressing against his skin. Every step was a movement away from the ordinary and toward the eternal. As he drew near, a voice called out from within the flames, echoing through the silence of the mountain, "Moses, Moses," and he replied, "Here I am." The voice was authoritative yet intimate, calling him by name in a place where he thought no one knew him. The sanctuary of the desert had become a temple. "Do not come any closer," the voice said. "Take off your sandals, for the place where you are standing is holy ground." In the ancient world, to remove one's shoes was an act of profound humility and respect. Moses stood bare, vulnerable before his Creator. In that moment, the ordinary desert was transformed. The shepherd's routine was shattered by the presence of the eternal. This was the intersection of time and eternity. We often wait for the grand cathedral or the perfect moment, but Moses found God in a scrub bush on a Tuesday morning. Holy ground is where he meets us. "I am the God of your father," the voice continued, "the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob." The God of his heritage was speaking. He was being reminded that he was part of a story much larger than his own 40 years in Midian. The promises of old were becoming the reality of now. At this, Moses hid his face, for he was afraid to look at God. The record shows a man overwhelmed by a majesty he never expected to find in the dusty desert. Fear and awe are the natural responses to the divine. Moses, once a man of high status, was now a man who knew his true place in the presence of the king. God spoke of the suffering of his people in Egypt. "I have indeed seen the misery of my people," he said. "I have heard them crying out because of their slave drivers. I am concerned about their suffering," the voice continued. The Eternal was not distant or indifferent. He was intimately aware of every tear shed in the darkness. "I have come down to rescue them from the hand of the Egyptians," the voice promised. The flame was not just for awe. It was a fire of compassion. He promised to lead them to a good and spacious land, a land flowing with milk and honey. The liberation was not just from something, but to something better. Then came the call that Moses never sought. So now go. I am sending you to Pharaoh to bring my people, the Israelites, out of Egypt. The quiet shepherd was being drafted into a revolution. The mission was impossible by any human standard, and Moses knew it. Moses was unsure. Who am I, he asked, that I should go to Pharaoh and bring the Israelites out of Egypt? He was a man of 80, a shepherd. He saw only his own limitations, his past failures, and his current insignificance. In his eyes, he was the least qualified man in Midian. We often think our past defines our future. Moses looked at his staff and saw a tool for sheep. God looked at it and saw a scepter for a nation. God's answer to, "Who am I?" was not a list of Moses' credentials. It was a promise of his own presence. Our identity is secondary to his. The answer was simple and profound. I will be with you. The presence was the promise. The bush burned, and Moses was no longer alone in the wilderness. This would be the sign that after they were brought out, they would worship God on this very mountain. The end was guaranteed by the one who began it. Still hesitant, Moses asked, "Suppose I go, and they ask me, what is his name? Then what shall I tell them?" He sought a handle on the infinite. He wanted a name to explain the unexplainable, a way to justify his sudden return to a people who might have forgotten him. God said to Moses, "I am who I am. This is what you are to say. I am has sent me to you." It is a name of pure existence, beyond time and definition. The God of the burning bush is the one who simply is, yesterday, today, and forever. A name that signifies eternal being, a presence that never fades and never fails. The God of the bush was the God of all generations to come. He is the God who is always present in our now, always sufficient for our today. I am was more than enough for Moses, and he is more than enough for us. To quiet his lingering fears, God showed him signs. A staff that became a serpent, and then a staff again. The inanimate became alive at his word. A hand that turned white with leprosy and was healed in an instant. The power was not in Moses' hands, but in the one who held his life. Still, Moses pleaded, "Pardon your servant, Lord. I have never been eloquent. I am slow of speech and tongue." He focused on his perceived flaw. He thought his inability to speak well would disqualify him from being a messenger. He forgot that the message belongs to the one who sends it. The Lord said to him, "Who gave human beings their mouths? Is it not I? Now go. I will help you speak and will teach you what to say." The creator of the voice would be the architect of the words. Moses' weakness was the perfect canvas for God's strength to be displayed. With a heavy staff and a heart lightened by the promise, Moses began his journey back to Egypt. The shepherd was now a messenger, his calling forged in the flame. He left behind the safety of Midian to face the power of Pharaoh. The fire of the bush now burned within him, a flame that would guide a nation to freedom. The bush that burned and was not consumed is more than an ancient record from the desert. It is a mirror for our own lives, a testament to God's timing. It reminds us that the years we think are wasted are often the years we are being prepared. It tells us that our calling is not based on our strength. And now, we come to the bridge. Perhaps you are sitting in your own wilderness tonight, wondering if your calling has passed you by in the silence. You might feel like you've spent too long in the mundane, that the fires of your youth have dimmed and the world has forgotten your name. But remember the bush. The fire of God doesn't seek the grandest cedar or the tallest palm. It seeks the humble, overlooked bush in the far wilderness. Your current season of obscurity is not a sign of his absence, but a season of his deep work. He knows where you are, and he knows your name. God chose the ordinary to reveal the extraordinary. Your weaknesses, your slow speech, and your doubts are not barriers to his purpose for your life. They are the very places where his light shines brightest, the cracks through which his grace flows. He doesn't call the qualified, he qualifies the called. Whatever trial you are carrying, whatever fire seems to burn around you tonight, It does not have to consume you. In his presence, you are preserved. You are seen. You are known. The one who kept the bush green amidst the flames is the same one who holds your heart today. Trust the preservation. Don't be afraid to turn aside from the noise and the rush. Listen for the voice that calls your name in the quiet moments of your own desert. The calling that feels lost is simply waiting for the right moment. Be patient with the process, for the great I Am is already standing in your tomorrow. May you find your own holy ground tonight. May the peace of the great I Am rest upon your heart, quieting your fears and leading you into the morning. You are not forgotten. Your story is still being written by the author of life. Sleep in the comfort of his presence and the certainty of his love. As we close, I want to ask, who are you praying for tonight? We believe in the power of shared burdens and collective hope in this community. Please share their names or your requests with us in the comments below. We will hold them in our thoughts and prayers as we walk this path together. If this journey through the desert brought you comfort, consider subscribing to Beside Still Waters for more moments of peace and reflection. Thank you for spending this time with us. Until next time, may your soul be at rest and your spirit be renewed. Be at peace.